Okay, let's just be honest for a second. It's February 2026. We've all been doing this hybrid work dance for years now.
For a while, yeah.
So if I asked you right now, why are you going into the office today? And your answer is something like, because my boss sent a calendar invite, or, I don't know, because that's where the good printer is.
Then we have a problem, a really fundamental problem. And honestly, if the printer is the main event of your commute, you're probably looking for a new job on your lunch break.
Right. The reality is the whole why has completely changed.
Really?
We're in a world where you can, technically work from almost anywhere with a decent Wi-Fi signal. So the core tension of the modern workplace, it's not about attendance policies anymore or keycard swipes.
No, not at all.
It's about something much more intangible. It's about magnetism.
Magnetism is such a perfect word for it. It completely flips the dynamic. It's about pull, not push.
Exactly.
You can push people into a building with a mandate, sure, but you can only keep them there and keep them actually productive with magnetism.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're doing a deep dive into this concept of Workplace 3.0. We're moving from the age of attendance
To the age of intention.
Yes. And to guide us, we've got a fantastic feature article from the February 2026 issue of Systems Integration Asia magazine.
Yeah, and a huge thank you to Systems Integration Asia for this.
Right.
The piece is called From Functional Offices to Magnetic Destinations, and what I really love about it is that they didn't just interview one type of expert.
No, they pulled together a really diverse group.
Some real heavy hitters to figure out what this shift actually looks like on the ground.
They really did. We've got three key perspectives in the mix today, and they all kind of fit together like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
So first, we have Enovec. They're the hardware and integration specialists, right?
Right, they're focused on what they call the effortless technology experience.
Okay, then you have PTS Singapore, specifically represented by Rico Sim.
And he's looking at that invisible layer, the governance, the end-to-end journey, basically all the stuff you don't notice until it breaks.
And then there's a third player that brings in this whole psychological angle, which I find fascinating. Now, for everyone listening, on paper, this company is spelled SQRD.
Right.
But just so we are all on the same page, it is pronounced squared.
Squared, got it.
So from here on out, we're just calling them squared. And representing them is their founder and CEO, Simon Long.
And we really need to pay attention to what Simon Long is saying today. This is a guy with, over 25 years of experience, 100+ global projects under his belt.
Yeah, a serious track record.
But what makes his perspective so crucial for this deep dive is where he operates. He's right at the intersection of AI, physical space, and, human behavior.
So he's not just talking about HDMI cables.
No, he's talking about how your brain actually reacts to being in a room.
Which is so interesting because usually when we talk about office tech, it gets very dry, very fast. It's specs and pixels.
Right.
But Simon and Squared seem to be suggesting that the tech is really there to serve the psychology.
Precisely. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're exploring how to turn an office from a place you have to go
into a destination you actually want to go.
So let's jump in. The big shift. Attendance versus intention.
The article makes it pretty clear that the consensus among all three of these experts, Enovec, PTS, Singapore, and Squared, is that the era of coming into the office just to clear your inbox, it's over.
Oh, it's absolutely dead and buried. I mean, just think about the logic of it. You're commuting 45 minutes, sitting in traffic, just to sit in a cubicle and answer emails on a laptop that works perfectly fine on your sofa.
It's just inefficient.
It's worse than inefficient. It's almost insulting to the employee's time. So the question becomes, if we aren't going in to type alone, what are we going in for?
Well, Enovec points out some really interesting physical changes that are starting to answer that. They're talking about the slow death of the large formal meeting room. You know the one?
Oh, the mahogany wasteland, the classic boardroom.
Yes. A table that seats 20, but there's only ever 3 people in there, huddled at one end.
Exactly. It feels like a relic. And Enovec says these spaces are being carved up. We're seeing this massive rise in huddle rooms, solo meeting pods.
And those adaptable town hall environments.
It's all about variety. And it matches how we actually work now. If I'm going into the office, it's probably to brainstorm with 3 people, or to have a private call where my kid isn't shouting in the background,
Right.
or to attend a big team creative session. I need different kinds of spaces for different modes of work.
That makes sense. But Rico Sim from PTS Singapore, he adds a layer to this that I think often gets overlooked. He says it's not just about swapping a big room for a small one. It's about the end-to-end journey.
This is that invisible layer I mentioned before. What Rico means is that the experience starts way before you even open your laptop.
It starts when you walk in the door.
Yeah. Can I give an example?
Please.
Okay, think about wayfinding. Is there digital signage telling you where your team is sitting today? Is the lobby actually welcoming? Does the AV help you find your colleagues?
So it's about community building, not just presentations.
Exactly. The goal is to remove friction so people feel seen and heard right away.
Friction is the key word there. Because if I walk in and I can't find a desk, or I don't know where the meeting is, I'm already annoyed before I've even started my workday.
You're already on the back foot. And that brings us to what I think is the most provocative idea in this first part of the article. Simon Long from Squared takes this idea of experience, and he completely reframes who the competition even is.
This part just blew my mind. He says the office isn't competing with your rival company's office.
No.
It's competing with your home and your favorite cafe.
The third place argument, and Simon is so spot on here. I mean, think about why you go to a cafe to work, let's be honest. Is it the most efficient place?
No way.
Yeah.
The tables are tiny, the Wi-Fi is shared with 50 other people, it's noisy.
And yet, people flock there. Why?
It's the vibe, I think, the energy. You feel productive because you're around other people, but you still have your own little space. And the coffee is definitely better than the office sludge.
Exactly. You go for the experience. You go for the feeling of being there. And Simon's whole argument is that the office needs to adopt that kind of hospitality mindset.
So the AV shouldn't just be this hidden infrastructure.
Right. It shouldn't be something you only notice when it breaks. He says it should be a visible culture enabler.
Visible culture enabler. That's a really strong phrase.
It is. It means the tech should actively set the mood. It should make the town hall feel like a daily collaboration hub, or a wellness room feel genuinely calm and restorative.
So it's not just a screen on a wall. It's part of why you feel good being in that space.
That's the idea.
I love that concept.
Yeah.
But I have to play devil's advocate for a second. Good vibes and culture, those are notoriously hard to measure.
Yeah.
I can measure rent. I can measure electricity. How do we actually measure if a workplace is, well, working?
That is the million-dollar question for every facility manager right now. And the article actually pivots here from the physical layout to the philosophy of success.
Right. And Enovec has a pretty simple definition for success. They just say effortless.
Simple to say, but incredibly hard to actually pull off. They're talking about cognitive ease, one-touch join, seamless content sharing. The metric is basically, are your employees troubleshooting or are they collaborating?
Oh, man. The amount of time I have lost in my life trying to get the right dongle to work, or just trying to figure out which remote turns on the projector.
That's cognitive friction. It just drains your mental battery. Enovec says you have to eliminate that. And PTS Singapore Rico Simhi weighs in here saying that to achieve effortless, AV has to be governed like IT.
What does that mean exactly?
It means it has to be secure, standardized, and remotely monitored. It's not just, hey, let's buy a cool screen from the store. It needs to be designed in parallel with the acoustics and the lighting. It's holistic.
So if the mic breaks, IT should know about it before I do.
That's the goal. But I want to get back to Squared, because Simon Long and his team, they have a specific framework for this that I think is really the centerpiece of this whole discussion. They call it the FEEL framework, F-E-E-L. Yes, this is their methodology. If you're a listener taking notes, or if you're trying to justify a budget to your boss, this is the part to really write down.
Okay, let's walk through it. First one is F.
F is for function. Does it serve a clear purpose? This seems obvious, right? But you'd be surprised how many offices have cool tech that nobody actually needs.
Or like those beautiful glass rooms where the acoustics are so bad you can't hear anything.
Exactly. If the room doesn't do the basic job it's supposed to do, nothing else matters.
Okay, so function first. Next is E.
E is for experience. Does the technology elevate the user's time there? This goes right back to that cafe analogy. Is the experience of using this room actually better than just staying at home on Zoom?
That's a high bar. It's not enough for it to just work. It has to be an upgrade.
It has to be a premium experience. Better audio, better video, bigger screens, something.
Okay, what about the second E?
E is for engagement. Do people choose to use the space? And this is where the data comes in. You can't just say, oh, everyone loves the new huddle room.
You need to prove it.
You need the data to show that people are actually booking it, and more importantly, spending time there. We're talking utilization rates, maybe even heat maps of where people gather. Engagement is the proof that the magnetism is working.
Right. And finally, L.
L is for longevity. Is it supportable and cost-effective over time? Because you can build this absolute spaceship of a meeting room, But if it costs a fortune to maintain and it's obsolete in 6 months,
It's failure.
it fails the L test. Function, experience, engagement, longevity, feel.
It completely shifts the conversation.
Yeah.
It moves us from, does the microphone work, to, do I enjoy being in this room?
And that is a massive psychological shift.
It is. But I could just hear the skeptics and probably the CFOs listening to this and thinking, okay, this all sounds lovely, but experiential AV and magnetism sound expensive.
The ROI dilemma. It's always the elephant in the room, isn't it?
It is. So how do we balance this innovation with the actual cost? Because Enovec warns about this, don't they?
They do. Enovec is very clear. Over-engineered systems with low adoption. They kill your ROI. If you spend 50 grand on a system that requires a PhD to operate, you've just burned that money.
What's their strategy?
They say invest heavily in the high-impact spaces, your town halls, your client centers, places where that wow factor really matters, but for the everyday rooms.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, keep it intuitive, and Rico Sim at PTS Singapore basically agrees. He says, solve the everyday friction first. Clear audio, easy controls. That gives you the best immediate return. Then, once you've proven that value, you can scale up the bigger innovations.
But this is where Simon Long and Squared come in with a bit of a counter-argument. And I think this is a really pivotal view.
It's a little bit contrarian, but it's really compelling. Simon argues that, yes, innovation is an investment without guaranteed returns, but the risk of inaction is actually greater.
The cost of doing nothing.
Exactly. He points out that workplace engagement is at historic lows. People are bored, they're disconnected, so if you do nothing, you are paying for an expensive office that nobody wants to be in. That is a huge cost right there.
That's such a good point. We always talk about the cost of a new screen, but we don't talk about the cost of an unhappy workforce that quits because the office is just depressing.
Simon calls it the cost of boredom, and he offers what he calls a value multiplier argument. Let's say you have a big town hall space. Traditionally, maybe you use it once a month for an all-hands meeting.
Right, and the rest of the time it's just a ghost town. Empty chairs.
Just sitting there. Simon says, what if you invest a modest amount in tech to transform that space so it can also be a daily collaboration hub or a wellness zone? Suddenly, you've amplified the value of that real estate by, say, 20x.
Because you're using it every day instead of once a month.
Precisely. The tech isn't an expense, it's a lever to get more value out of the building you're already paying for. It's just smart asset utilization.
That makes a lot of sense. So looking forward then, we've got the framework, we've got the economic argument. What do the next, say, 3 to 5 years look like? Is it all just robots serving us coffee?
Well, maybe not robots, but all three sources see a massive role for AI. They just see it a little differently. It's less about robots and more about responsiveness.
So Enovec sees it in real-time adaptation, right?
Yes. Systems that adjust audio and visuals on the fly. So imagine a room that sort of listens. If someone speaks quietly, the mic audio boosts. If the sun comes out and creates a glare on the screen brightens and the blinds lower.
All without me having to touch a remote.
Exactly. It just happens.
At PTS Singapore.
They're doubling down on audio-first design. Rico Sim makes a great point. Even the best visuals fail if the sound is bad. We've all been on those calls where the video is 4K, but the audio sounds like they're underwater.
Oh, it's the worst. I'd rather just have a normal phone call at that point.
Right. You can tolerate a blurry video, but if you can't hear what's being said, the meeting is over. So for PTS, perfect audio and sustainability, those will become the baseline expectation.
And what about Squared? What's Simon Long's vision for the future?
This connects back to their whole company promise, that idea of no hype.
I like that, no hype.
Simon wants to move beyond AI pilots in what he calls theater, doing things just to look futuristic, and move to operational reality.
Empowerment versus automation.
That's the key phrase. He believes AI shouldn't just automate tasks like turn on the lights. It should personalize the workplace. Imagine a meeting room that knows your preferences.
So like, it knows I prefer the lights dimmed a bit and the volume at 70%.
Exactly. And it guides you naturally through the setup. It connects to your calendar. It feels responsive. It feels like the building is working with you, not just holding you.
It really is that intersection of deep technical understanding and psychology. A human-centric environment.
That is the whole journey, from attendance to intention.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
And it feels like we are just at the very beginning of it.
We are. The office has to earn the commute now.
Learn the commute.
Yeah.
I'm stealing that one. Okay, before we wrap up, I just want to circle back to Simon Long's perspective one last time. Because that cost of inaction idea is really, really sticking with me.
It should. I think it's the most provocative takeaway from this entire deep dive.
So wait on us. What's the final thought?
Okay, think about it this way. We're in a world of budget cuts, ROI scrutiny, everyone's tightening their belts. And it is very easy to look at a line item for workplace experience tech and say,
We can cut that. We don't need that. We have desks. It
Yeah.
feels like a luxury.
exactly. But Simon forces us to ask, in that world of scrutiny, what if the most dangerous line item is the one you don't spend? If your office doesn't feel right, if it doesn't have function, experience, engagement, and longevity, is it actually an asset?
Or is it just a very expensive, very empty building?
And an empty building that you're paying rent on. That is the worst ROI of all. An invested magnetic office is cheaper in the long run than a cheap, empty one.
That is a really powerful place to leave it. So for our listeners, I want you to look around your workspace today, whether that's a home office, a cafe, or a corporate HQ, and ask yourself, does this place have gravity? Does it have magnetism?
Or is it just a place with a printer? And if it's just the printer, maybe it's time to ask why.
A big thanks to Systems Integration Asia for the source material, and to Enovec, PTS Singapore, and of course Simon Long at Squared for all the insights. And thank you for listening to The Deep Dive.
We'll catch you next time.